Thank you. Now we're good.
Okay.
All
I
right, let's
found
call it.
different headsets, so that was kind of helpful.
Yeah, no, okay, yeah, that definitely made the difference. Thank you.
Okay.
Audience, thanks for your patience, okay? Thanks for the patience. And whenever I put this up, once it's uploaded, I'll probably just edit out the first few minutes, and
Okay, that's good.
it'll be like it's okay. It'll be straight into it, which is fine. Thanks for joining us once again, you guys. Much appreciated. Our friend tonight is Ellie, and she commented on a video of mine recently, mentioning that she had transitioned early on in her life, then transitioned back to her original female after finding Christ. And I thought this would be a great story to hear. So here she is. I'm very grateful that she showed up. Had a little audio issues there in the beginning, but we're totally clean now. So Ellie, if you like, we were talking and you said that you started transitioning at the age of 9
19.
or 19. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. That's a big
Yeah.
difference. So at 19, and I'd mentioned earlier, we'll just answer again for the audience. Was there ever a time in the beginning, like as a little one, a little girl, that you felt this, that you were in the wrong body or anything like that? Also, if you don't mind, I'm just going to throw questions out. I'm curious, but was there any kind of abuse or anything also back then, if you don't mind? So go ahead.
In an early age, I always felt really disconnected. I always had this problem socially. I didn't connect with other people. I had a lot of social issues. So I always felt different, but it never fell into my mind that people could be born in the wrong gender. That was just something I learned when I was 17. So it was never a thought I had, but I was a real tomboy. So I liked boy things, but I never put myself in a gender role really when I was a
Yeah,
kid.
okay. And was there any kind of like abuse or anything that may have contributed to anything there?
Yeah, it was a lot of unstable stuff happening in childhood. I came from a really turbulent home, so it was a lot of stuff happening, but it wasn't any physical abuse. It was more emotionally and mental abuse. But I actually was in an abusive relationship when I was a teenager, so that was kind of what made me really get into the whole wanting to be another gender.
Was that relationship with a male or a female?
It was with a man.
Oh, okay, and sounds like he was just bad news, huh? Well,
Yeah.
that's interesting. There's always they say that connection. They always say it always goes back to our childhood, I suppose. So after the abuse, teenage years, that's when you started. That's very interesting. So that's when you started feeling the need to transition. Now I don't know how old you are. I never asked, but
I'm 26.
oh, okay, great. Thanks for sharing. Because okay, so there was already a community out there for you to turn to. Like this is
Yeah.
almost 10 years ago or so, right? So yeah, okay.
So it was
And go ahead.
actually during the end of that relationship with the guy that was really abusive that this came in as a subject. It was never anything I actually thought about before I was together with him. And the curious thing about it was that he was really into all this stuff. Like he was into boys and girls, and intersecting, like all these things that were kind of out there. So that was a big interest. So I got a lot of support from him, and he was pushing it like a lot.
Interesting. Do you personally come from? I know that you said there was a turbulent time in your childhood, but do you come from a family that was faithful or Christian, or were they atheist or something else?
They were at least not Christian. I grew up in a home where it was no religion at all, and it never talked about it. I been to church probably 3 times my whole childhood, and that was one wedding and funerals. So I never had any Christian person. I never talked to a Christian person until recently, actually, like a real conversation.
Hopefully, it was a good one because
Yeah,
it can be a bit of a mixed bag sometimes.
yeah. I had really wrong impression of Christians. I had this impression that they were really judgmental and kind of putting themselves above everybody else, like they were so much better. But
Yeah,
that's so wrong. But like I said, I didn't have any knowledge about it. Nobody ever like introduced me to any kind of faith.
So you're like around 19, you're transitioning. You have no faith background, don't really know a whole lot about,
No.
God, let's say, or Christ or anything. So you're going through the process now. What are you thinking at 19 as you're going through the process? What's your biggest motivation, and what's your goal, say 5 years from when you started transitioning? Where did you see yourself,
I've been trying a lot lately to think back and actually figure out what I was thinking at the time, because my mind is so much clearer now, so I can see what was the emotion behind the thought. But right then, I think I just wanted to be anything but myself. I just wanted to be someone that people liked and wanted to be around, and that was accepted and could actually be part of something and part of the world, because I always felt really disconnected from the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just wanted to be accepted, I think, on a really deep level. And I think I fooled myself too in the process, because I didn't really understand why I was doing anything. I just kind of had these feelings that were really strong, like I really feel this is right. So I kind of made up some kind of fact to go along with it or something. I don't know. It didn't really have any concrete basis. It was just a lot of emotions, I think.
Well, isn't it interesting? Because we really are living in a time now where, just like what you're saying, there's a lot of people doing that they're just basically saying, this is what I am now, and and this is how I exist. I did a video not long ago about a man, a white man, that wanted to be known as a female Portuguese woman or Filipino woman, and that's what he convinced himself he was. And he would get angered to the point of violence if you said anything against that. There's even a story just this morning I read in the UK, United Kingdom, that some lady out there just got arrested and put in jail for several hours for misgendering somebody. So that's
Yeah.
some pretty wild stuff, right? But and we can get into some of that here in a bit because that's all over the place. But so there is a community for you. You're transitioning at 19. It's interesting the way you describe it, because and I see this in a lot of other people as well, that it's like some people are literally dividing their own personality. It's like a dissociative disorder almost. We're putting on ourselves, we're creating a whole new personality, right? And then, that's the one that'll be loved. That's the one people will care about. It's interesting, I think.
It's a real escape. That's what it is. It's sometimes you don't even know that you're escaping from something, but mostly it's just, the need to be something that you're not, because you can't, like, people or yourself can't accept who you are.
Well,
That's the impression I got from it.
Oh, sorry about that. Well, thank you. And it's interesting because even it sounds like you're on your own path now and on your own spiritual path following Christ, and you're growing as a Christian and everything. And you're probably learning now that it's very interesting, because even as a Christian, a true follower of Christ, we're disconnected from this world too. Like
Yeah, I
we
noticed.
we really are the ones that are weirdos and stand out to the rest, which is, I think, great, because the rest of this world is so wicked and dark. I'm proud to stand apart from that.
Yeah, I like this kind of standing apart, like when it feels good, when it's not standing apart and being so isolated from everything. I don't feel isolated the way it is now.
Good, good. Now I'll keep asking now, so I'm curious. So as we're going through the process, how far did you go as far as the transition, medications? I don't even understand that process. I'm just curious, if you don't mind sharing.
I don't mind sharing. I just have to say, like, I don't think most people know that process. To be honest, I went through it, and I'm learning stuff now about that process that I didn't know while I was going through it.
Wow.
I was really poorly informed. So I went through. I went on testosterone shots for 8 years, and I had 3 surgeries. So I have had what's the name of these things? Like top surgery, when they remove breasts and stuff. And then I had some fixing on that, and then I have removed. I just need to find ovaries and that stuff, so I can't have I don't have any hormone production anymore, and I can't have kids or anything like that. So
Wow. And I'm sure,
all
and
that's gone.
thanks for sharing that. Now, I'm just throwing this out there because I'm not sure, and I know it's a very sensitive subject. Again, thanks for sharing. But are you at a point now in your walk where, do you feel that that's kind of something you'll have to carry forever, just as a reminder or something, or how have you how are you viewing that in your mind now?
In the beginning, when I first became Christian, it was really, really hard, and I had a lot of times where I just kind of didn't know how to like wake up almost, because I felt so devastated. But it's it's always a reminder, but I'm trying to make it into something positive instead of, you know, just feeling sorry for myself for what have happened.
Ellie, I'm just over here beside myself. I'm so proud of you, seriously. And
Thank you.
hold on, yeah. Sorry, hold on. Sorry, guys, seriously. Uh, this is going to help someone, I can tell. So, sorry, I don't do this. Hold on. This is really going to help someone. So, thank you. I can feel it's going to help somebody. Okay, I'm going to tighten it up. I usually don't do this. Sorry. So when is it that okay, so how long was it, the whole process of the transitioning from female to male?
It was surprisingly fast, because I started when I was 19. That was when I was 19 was the first time I went to the hospital that actually do this kind of treatments where I live. And it was actually last summer that I started detransitioning.
Awesome. Now, what led to that? I mean, what was the whole process of that when you started, wanting to change back?
It was actually quite interesting because I had a lot of bad relationships my whole life with different guys. And in 2016, towards the end of 2016, I met this guy on the internet because, I wasn't really good at, meeting people in person. And we started talking, and it became a really good relationship. And I went to visit him because he lived pretty far away. And well, we started dating, and he was actually an atheist when we started dating. He didn't believe in anything, but we started partying a lot and started doing different psychedelic drugs and stuff. And this led to him actually experiencing spiritual stuff that um, made him curious about what was out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which drugs was it that caused that?
LSD and DMT.
Man, that is very interesting. I never
Yeah.
did DMT, but I did salvia quite a bit back in the day when I lived in Los Angeles, and I understand that's a similar thing. Freaked
Yeah,
me
it's
out.
quite extreme.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really extreme.
So go ahead and please continue, though. That's interesting. So he had a couple of experiences. What were those experiences? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was. I always had a lot of like. I wasn't the way that I didn't believe in anything. I believed in the spiritual, but I didn't believe in God or anything like that. I just always been a really spiritual person since my teenage years. So he didn't believe in anything, but I would see these creatures and stuff around me a lot, and I would tell him, "Oh, they're there and there and stuff." And when we were doing this, after a while of doing psychedelics and stuff, he would see the same things that I saw.
Man, yeah, go
So he
ahead.
could like sit in the room and describe the same things, and that's when he understood that it was not something, mental illness, and it was not something I just imagined. That it was something in the room, and it kind of made him be really curious. He's the kind of guy that when he first gets curious about something, he does like a ton of research. and
Yeah, that's good.
and he started looking into actually. I think it was a little bit of New Age first, and then it ended up in like Buddhism and Hinduism and that kind of stuff. And I'm kind of just tagging along behind him doing the stuff I always done. I always just been the one that tags along behind, not to get lost in on my own. And yeah, he got really bothered, but a lot. But sorry, sometimes I stumble on my words.
That's okay.
He got really troubled and bothered by spiritual stuff in our apartment, and it got to the point where he actually started becoming really agitated all the time,
Uh,
and he slept bad, and it was just a lot of
I want to jump in
maintenance for
real.
him.
I'm sorry. I just want to jump in real quick and say that part's so important too. I mean, I've done a lot of videos on that as well because when we open ourselves up, we create these portals through these different psychedelic drugs and whatnot. You literally do open yourself up to these different entities, these beings, and 99.9% of the time they're not going to be friendly. They may seem nice at first, right? They come as light, but they'll
Yeah,
haunt you, right? So go ahead, please. So he was getting tormented basically and couldn't
yeah.
sleep.
In the beginning, they were really nice, and he was thinking it was super cool, and he was really into like astral projection and stuff like that. But then it started becoming really hostile, and in the end, he figured out that the only thing that could save him was Jesus.
That's
So
great. That's great too. I actually was just talking to a friend of mine who was an atheist many years ago, went through the New Age stuff and all that, and now he's really curious about Jesus. It's like he's got a great mind, like your friend did, loves exploring all the topics. I can tell he's gone through everything, and now he's at the point of finally looking into Jesus. And that's what I've said for years in my videos, is Jesus is the end of the rabbit hole. Like we can look at all this
yeah,
other stuff and that's fine, right? But the end truth is Christ and God. So please continue.
yeah. So he got help from Jesus to like just it was he has his own story, but basically he got saved by Jesus and he became a Christian like really fast. And we were still in a relationship, so he everything he did affected me. And he bought a Bible, and he wanted me to listen to Christian music, and it was a lot.
Mhm.
I didn't really like it, to be honest.
I don't listen to Christian music myself, but go ahead.
No, just the whole Christian thing. It didn't. It made something inside me just really uncomfortable. Um, and he actually made me. Sorry, I was at this
You're
time
doing great. Go
going
ahead.
back and forth from an institution because I was like living there at the weekdays and then I went home in the weekends.
So the institute. Okay, so I just want to make sure we're on the timeline.
Yeah.
You're with this guy. He basically following what he does. He finally has the Christ experience.
Mm.
Somewhere in this area, you went to the asylum. So how did you get there? Why did you want to? I'm guessing that's when you were wanting to transition back to your original.
I was in there and he made me bring a Bible and he had been talking a lot about, Jesus and God and stuff. And one night I went to sleep and Jesus came to talk to me. And when I woke up, it was like he just lifted the veil from my eyes and everything was just different.
Man, I love that. That's great.
So he basically came to me while I was sleeping and just cleared my heart. He made it pure again and made me understand that what I was doing wasn't right.
Wow,
So
that's
when I woke up, I didn't have. It was kind of weird because I woke up and when I went to sleep, I was really into this, being a boy thing still. But the moment I woke up, I didn't have the need of being a boy anymore.
man, that's something. And how long ago was that now?
That was in May of last year.
Oh, that's great. So you're kind of
Yeah,
fresh into
yeah,
this. Yeah.
yeah.
Now, are you still with that same guy or?
We actually got married in December.
Oh, congratulations. That's great.
Thank you.
So this is a testimony for him too, right? Because so I'm guessing when he was with you, it was when you were more on the male side. Is that right?
Yeah, when we
So he
became a
was
couple, we were a gay couple
okay.
from
There you
like
go.
the outside.
Wow.
uh,
Yeah. And that's so interesting. Okay, great. So that's a great testimony there. So all right. So then that's so fresh. I mean, where are you at now on your walk? Like, are you going to a church? Are you reading your Bible? I mean, maybe if you want to talk a little bit about your faith.
I love reading my Bible. I should be better at it, but I just love it. It's so much. I think it's the only book I read now. But it's
Wow, that's
just
great.
because every time I read it, I find something new. And we belong to this little evangelic church, which is like, it's a really small church, but it's amazing. The people are just awesome.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's good.
And yeah, it's just it's been our whole life have just changed
And that's
everything.
awesome. Good. I had some people in chat were just asking. Some people are still confused because they came in late, I think. No,
Yeah.
she was born female, transitioned to male, met her boyfriend. He had the conversion really right around the time she followed. Now they're he's male, and then Ellie is female naturally, and they're married. So there you go, guys. I know it can get a little bit wild, but this is why we talk about this, and this isn't unusual now. It's everywhere. What do you think about the we'll just talk about some topics if you don't mind. But what do you think about like Desmond is Amazing and some of these little children that are starting to,
I think it's insane because of a lot of things. It's for one, it's just the way I see them, the environment that they are in, mostly when they are being pictured, is not good environments. I mean, you see them with grown men that or grown people that you can see look at them in like really weird ways. But beside that, it's if you ask a child that is 4 or 6 or 8 what the difference between a man and a woman is, I don't think they can actually answer, because the difference. Many people that are in like college don't really know the difference between a man and a woman. It's more than what you see on the outside, and I think society become a lot focused on what is on the outside. So girls have long hair, girls wear makeup, girls wear dresses, and all that stuff. But it's a biological difference that people don't seem to actually pay any attention to.
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know what to think. It's really scary where this stuff's heading, like with the children doing this and
Yeah,
mixing
I
with
think it's really bad for children to be, because actually they did research many years ago and showed that if children had gender confusion when they were young, that most of them would actually grow out of it by the beginning, middle of their teens, if it didn't get encouraged.
Man. So you guys are at a church. Everything's been going good there. And I wanted to ask, is there, let's say there's somebody listening tonight that's somewhere in this process. Maybe they're thinking about transitioning, I mean, maybe they're right in the thick of it. I don't know, but pretend you're talking directly to this person that's looking for answers. If you don't mind, I'd love to hear what you'd say to them.
I'd ask why they actually want to transition. It's like, what do they really want out of it? It's like thinking back on the process when I went through it myself. I didn't ever ask myself the questions what I really wanted out of it. I wanted to be a guy, but why did I want to be a guy? And I never really thought about it properly, what the consequences would be in 10 years and stuff like that. I don't really know what I would say to a person that was transitioning, but that's mostly because I actually talked to some people that have been in transition or is about to start, and most of them don't really want to talk about it because they made up their mind, and you ask them questions they don't really want to know and they want to answer, and it's not easy.
So now, I mean, the other good thing is I don't know if you're approached by many people, but I don't know if you have any homosexual friends still, or if just homosexual strangers. Sometimes the Lord will put someone in your path. Maybe they've come around, because you can have a whole different approach to them now. But I mean, I'm guessing obviously you see it like the biblical version, that homosexuality is clearly a sin,
Yeah.
right? But then all sins are basically equal, right? Except for, what is it, blasphemy of the Holy Spirit or turning your back on God or whatever. But so I always try to keep that in mind as well, because there's even pastors out there that get real hellfire and brimstone over homosexuality, but they won't touch all the other stuff that all of us are engaged in at one point or another in our life. You know what I mean? So How about that? Have you had any homosexual friends you've been able to kind of show Christ to or anything, or any strangers have come talk to you about this subject?
Not really. I had most of my friends were in the gay community, and now I think one of my friends that is in that community still want to talk to me.
Yeah, that's
But
understandable.
I actually talked to all of my friends that I have in that community about this and about detransitioning and, you know, uh, Jesus and that stuff, and how amazing it is to finally feel free and feel, you know, without that burden of having to pretend all the time, having to be on all the time. Um, it's so exhausting to just all the time having to think about what you sound like and what you look like, and if people see you from a masculine or a feminine angle, or and how you like all that stuff. It's just super exhausting. And I talked to them about this, and I got the same response from almost all of them. That was that they were really concerned about my mental state, and they didn't like the fact that Christians went around converting people.
Thank you for that. And I'll just throw this out because it seems like we pretty much covered most, right? And yeah, I don't want to leave anything out. But before we let you go, did you want to maybe take a couple questions from the chat if anybody has a question or two?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, cool. So, hey, chat, I know you're a little bit behind us, but if you have a question for Ellie, first off, please be respectful. I usually wouldn't even have to say that to you guys, but just in case, there's always trolls that skip around. But aside from that, write question first, and then please give us your question. We'll watch for a good minute or so, and if not, we'll go ahead and carry on. So I'm kind of watching the chat now, see if anybody has questions. Just write question first, and then tell us your question, and we will see what we got. Ellie, thanks again. I hope this hasn't been as painful as you thought it might be.
I'm still kind of nervous, but
It's
I
okay.
just I don't know if you have that feeling sometimes that after you said stuff, you're just like, oh, I don't know if I even should have said that. It's just
Oh, all the time. I mean, I've been doing live shows for like 5 years, all different types. So yeah, I get that a lot. We're like, they're gonna get mad about that, or I shouldn't have
yeah.
said this, or I joked about that. But anyway, let's see here. I think I'm getting a couple questions. Somebody said, Ellie, are you happy now?
I'm really happy.
Good.
It's this really peaceful feeling of just I feel really loved. I think when I received Christ, that was the first time I really felt accepted and loved. So
I love it.
that's just amazing.
I love it. That's great. Let me see. I think there's a couple more. Here's one. Let me see. Let's see. Question: Have you? Let's see. It says, "Have you been in a gay relationship with a woman before, or have you always been attracted to males?"
I've always been attracted to males. I've never been with a
Okay,
woman ever. So
and then let's see. All right, still scrolling down. Here's one question: What did the beings look like that she saw on LSD, and what kind of things did they do?
well, I didn't see them only on LSD. I saw this stuff all the time without drugs too. But most of them looked like these really tall shadow figures.
Oh, the
And
shadow people. Yeah.
yeah, I've seen drawings that people have done of them now recently. And these are things I've seen since I was like 10. So it
Oh,
was kind of creepy to see other people actually draw them so, or
geez.
explain them, like describe them in a way that was exactly how I seen them. But yeah, it was a lot of that, and then some weird animal creature things that I don't really know what was, and
Wow.
some things that looked like things out of horror movies. So yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, shapeshifter demons and shadow people and all those little things. And those things are not to scare people, but they know with my work, those things are really being unleashed now. I mean, the Vatican even is calling for more exorcists, and that's just one story. But enough about that. Here's a good question, too, from Yahweh's Finest. It says, question, first, my son is gay. How do I approach him with this?
um,
Yeah, I'm not sure what you'd say, but go ahead.
That's hard, but I would keep in the back of my mind that I wouldn't approach it in a judging way. Um, you know,
Right.
it's it's hard when I find it really hard when it comes to approaching people that are in the gay community, but that's mostly because it feel like it's such a block there. It's kind of hard to communicate. But
That's
I think
understandable.
that most of them just want to be accepted and understood. And a lot of them, I think, from experiences that I have personally and conversations I had with friends when I was in that community, it's a lot of people that have, feelings that never been resolved at some point, some experience that is, lying there and kind of making a lot of feelings they don't really understand, a lot of confusion.
Good answer. Here's a couple I can answer for you quickly. I think people showed up a little late. For D Veritas, she's a Christian, and for Zay Rouse, her and her husband don't hang out with homosexuals anymore. Um, as she said, she's not mean to them. It's just
We actually
birth.
have one friend that is gay that we hang out with sometimes. It's just they don't want to hang out with us.
Oh, okay.
It's
Thanks for
like
clarifying.
they don't really want to be around us because they find us really like, yeah, most of my friends that are in that community, like, as I think I'm really mentally ill right now, and you know they don't want to hear about Jesus, so they kind of stay
Sure.
away.
That brings me to the next question I see here. And again, let me know. We'll probably do a few more of these, all right, if you're all right with it, and then we'll
Yeah.
let you go. Here's one says, my new flatmate is trans femme male, highly indoctrinated. How do you handle that with your friends if you think differently but got to be civil? And she kind of covered that, right? But go ahead, Ellie. I mean, it seems like that's kind of a tough area to be in.
Yeah, my husband keep reminding me a lot because I have this, when you see all this stuff about, the transgenderism being spread to children, at least that makes me kind of, frustrated sometimes, and
Yeah,
it's hard to not get upset by it, but you still have to remember that that person is affected by something, and that it's some kind of spiritual battle going on that that they don't really often is aware of, and
yeah, that's
it
good.
has to be approached in a really gentle way, but not. I'm not saying that you should just not say your opinion, and if sorry, I just need to take a breath here.
Oh,
Sometimes I
no, go
forget to
ahead. You're all
breathe.
right. You're doing good.
um, it has to be with understanding, and it has to be with love, most of all.
That's
But
good. And
you have to stand with your opinions, if they're based on something that's actually true. And in the Bible, it's I don't think that we're supposed to approach people that are gay or trans or something with hate
right.
and like they are the sin, because they aren't the sin. They just that's just something that's in them.
Yeah, they're having to deal with something, you know?
Yeah, they have something that they have to deal with, and you know a lot of them don't really have answers, logical answers for why they're feeling these things. So, trying to just start a conversation, a dialogue, without it becoming full of hate, and where it's an understanding and where you listen to them, what they're feeling, so they actually get to dig a little deeper and kind of explore it themselves,
That's
what's
a
really
good one.
going on.
That's a great answer. And let me ask you this one here, too. I'm interested in this as well. Somebody asked, what do you think about the second coming?
I'm looking forward to it.
Me too, right? Get me off this rock. I always
Yeah,
say that. Lord, get me out of here, man. I am good. I got it. But,
yeah,
we're still here and we're going to do the best we can and enjoy it. But it just makes life even easier for me. I feel it's not always going to be happy, especially being a Christian. You'll have your attacks, but just makes it easier knowing we've got such an awesome place ahead and we're going to know each other and it's going to be cool. And, you know,
yeah. It's gonna be amazing.
I
I'm looking
agree.
forward to it. It's just I see that it's not quite the time yet, but that's just because we need to
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, give more people. God had plans to get more people to come to Him, so need to be
absolutely.
patient.
A lot of people actually believe that even Trump is a sign of that. They think that Trump was kind of a reprieve from the crazy leftist stuff happening in America right now. But we'll see how that plays out too. But anyway, man, I think. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, I think that's. I think we got him. I may have missed some. I'm sorry, guys, if I did. This goes pretty fast. But Ellie, is there anything that you wanted to say here at the end? Leave anybody with any final thought?
Yeah, it's a few things. I just want to say that I think that the reason why I actually transitioned to begin with was this really just like sum it up kind of because I don't even remember half of what I said. I think right now I'm kind of stressed. But just I was really trying to be somebody else because I had this really big emptiness inside that I couldn't fill with anything. So I tried to do anything to be loved and accepted. And, you know, I didn't really feel, no matter how many surgeries I had, it was never enough. And how long I was on testosterone, it wasn't enough. I just became like more unstable. It really messes up your mind and your body, seriously. And, you know, meeting Jesus, it's really just, I don't need that approval anymore from other people. And it's just feels so great to actually not having to pretend or having to please other people all the time.
Well said. Well said.
And I
Um,
also wanted to like just say that a lot of this that how should I say, statistics. I can't say this, you know, the statistics. Sorry, I have
that's
problems with
okay.
that. About trans people was actually really manipulated. It's like they don't really put the real numbers out there. So
Oh, right. Oh, sure. Yeah,
yeah,
they're definitely programming the public to make us all think it's, yeah, it's every day, man. Everybody's doing it. It's just we know that's not
yeah.
true.
And a lot of people I talked to have said that, you know, are you for these people killing themselves because they don't get treatment and stuff like that? And I'm not. I don't want anybody to be hurt in any way or harmed. And but you know, the statistics on people that kill themselves that are trans, they don't really pull the line of who does it before and after treatment. So, you know, those numbers are really blurred because a lot of people have suicidal thoughts afterwards.
Yeah, I'm
A
sure.
lot. And it's even harder when you have that need and you kind of feel like you want to go back because detransitioning, you get really ostracized from the community that you have been in for so long. And on top of that, it's really hard with all the shame and, you know, guilt feeling that you're sitting with yourself. So if anybody out there have actually transitioned and is feeling like it's not quite right, but they're scared of going back, that's really understandable. And you know, it's people out there that can actually support you and doctors that can help. Just, you know, don't stop trying. Don't stop looking.
I love it. That's great. Well, I mean, do you feel like we covered everything you wanted to cover tonight?
I think so, but my husband's writing a note for me.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Yeah, whatever he wants to say. Let's hear it.
Yeah, me and him talked a lot about this, and it really didn't help anything with surgeries. Like, and I've seen that in a lot of those stories that when you have a surgery, they always say, "Oh, when I get the next one, it's going to get better."
Mm-hmm.
And I talk to people that are going through transitioning, and they all say the same. It's, well, with a little more testosterone, it's going to get better. With one more surgery, it's going to get better. You know, after a few years, when I look more masculine, it's going to get better. The emotions are not fixed by, like, emotions are generally not fixed by surgeries. That's kind of hard.
Yes. Well, thanks. That's something good to add in there.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Thank you again, Ellie. That's all I can say. I felt so led to talk to you. I'm so grateful it worked out. We had a couple little mess ups in the beginning, but we cleared it up.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, my end too. Please say hi to your husband, and we love him in Christ as well as we love you in Christ. And
Thank you.
you're welcome, and thanks so much for sharing. And I guess we'll let you go, but I hope you stay in touch with me. All right, stay with me on email and everything else. Let me know how y'all are doing. Okay.
Yeah, I'll do that. Thank you
All right,
so much
Ellie.
for having me on.
Hey, you're welcome. Take care. God bless, and I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Okay, bye bye. All right, guys, I'm back over here on the chat real quick just to say thanks again so much, guys, for checking out the show. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that it was educational, and I know it's going to reach some people that are going to need to hear this, and it's going to help them out there. Okay, so anyway, guys, I saw some calls in there in the chat for us hanging out and chatting sometime. I will be doing that, but I'm also working on a whole new show. I've got a new kind of show idea coming up. It's going to be very interesting, I believe. Going to be a lot of different kinds of voices here on the show, and we'll see. I'm still kind of kicking around the idea, but it looks like it's in the works, and I think you guys will really like it. And on top of that, I've always got videos in the works. I've got a new one right now I'm calling The Human Race Ending Explained. So we'll get to that. Hopefully in the next few days it'll be up. Otherwise, you guys, thanks again for the mods so much. There was a bit of trolling tonight, but y'all did pretty good out there. I jumped in and got a couple people too. I don't want to say pretty good. Y'all always do a great job, but there's a lot to keep track of. Anyway, so thanks though, Tamara, Effie. I think you're the main ones I saw tonight, but just thanks for being here. Thanks as always to the chat. Love you guys. Thanks to my Patreon and PayPal friends as well for keeping me going. And other than that, you guys, I guess I'll let you go for now. It's the new Walking Dead's on tonight, so we don't want to miss that, right? Anyway, take care. Have a good week. I'll see you around.